All right, welcome, folks. Today we're going to talk through search and how it's changed since I wrote this in March of 2021. Almost almost 3 years ago now. So this was back before the generative AI craziness and back before ChatGPT really took the world by storm. And it all started with this tweet. So Jason Fried pointed this out, pretty prescient point, which is that search engines give you tons of results when you really only need one, right? And this got us thinking, how do search engines work? And how do we categorize them? So we really came up with these levers. And when I say we, this is me and my friend Neil Wida. And we came up with these two levers. Breadth of search, which is how wide a net do you cast? And then depth of search, like how deep is the net? How many fish are you trying to catch? And so what we then did was we kind of drew this diagram of where things would land on this matrix, right? So if something was narrow and deep, that's Google, right? It's a very focused search. It's trying to get you exactly what you want, and it's giving you tons of results. Broad and deep is pretty chaotic. That's a tough one to land on. Broad and shallow is kind of what we would almost call loose search. We use Devonsphere here, which we really enjoyed, but basically it's more semantic than keyword based. So it's trying to understand the underlying meaning of your query and give you, a broader selection than Google would, which is just trying to, match on a word at the most simplistic level. And then narrow and shallow, the only thing at the time we had was this thing that Basecamp built called Giggle, which would just return you one result and kind of stick you with it. And so since all this has happened, this was written, pre-ChatGPT, we can now start to line up some really interesting things here where now narrow and shallow would be ChatGPT, right? You ask it a question and it gives you back one concise, clean response. And what's really cool about ChatGPT is you can actually push it deeper. You can really play with both levers here with ChatGPT. It's really flexible. And I suppose with Bing as well and Google Bard, these all allow you to really move the lever around quite a bit. And what I think is kind of most interesting is actually in this upper right with shallow and broad is AI search tools like Exa.ai, which I just talked about in a previous video, where they can help you come up with better search terms and give you results that surprise and delight you, right? That's really great for exploration, and it's really, really interesting. So I just wanted to talk briefly about how this has changed since we wrote about it and kind of really quickly talk about what we thought was the most interesting case, which is narrow and shallow, which is what Jason Fried talked about. And this kind of quote that we wrote, which is the simple fact is we don't need 1.6 billion results. We just need one good one. And this has really come to fruition. I think that as chat interfaces and AI improve, we're going to see more and more like this. A really impressive output here is Arc Search, which just came out. They built a web browser and they built this great iOS app that instead of giving you a bunch of links, aggregates them and plops them out in one web page for you. And this is really problematic for the open web and content publishers in general. But from a user experience perspective, it's incredible. And this is what we were talking about here. Now, my personal favorite case is broad and shallow. And that's where I think tools like Exa.ai come in. And this is my quote here that I really like, or better yet, what if you are open to finding something unexpected? These are the really special, I think, use cases when it comes to learning and education where we can use AI to extend our curiosity and bring us to places we wouldn't have found otherwise. And in many ways, that's what great teachers do. And I'm really excited by the potential for AI to step in there for all kinds of use cases and to help us see things that we wouldn't have otherwise. So just wanted to do a quick revisit of this. Maybe sometime we will rewrite this, but fun to think about. And I think kind of on this last note, the predictions were breadth and depth of controls. That has come. I just talked about that earlier where ChatGPT can really, you can say, give me 10 results or give me one, and you can really dial it in. And then I actually don't remember this choice of ads. I really like this where, interesting, like paying for a search engine. And Kagi, Kagi, which I hope to do a product review on, is, from what I've heard, the best paid search engine and the closest to Google there is. better than DuckDuckGo, better than Bing, right? The closest competitor. So I'm going to try that out at some point and see this choice of ads lever, see if that changed as well. So thank you so much. Maybe I'll write an update of this, but maybe not. We'll see. Thank you for joining me, though, as I walk through this and take a trip down memory lane.